Here I meet my sneak up here for hello, Facebook, Instagram. Happy Mary. New sign language. Area nation.
Nation.
Hi. In high school, it was, I think, part of a demo CD, or the one I made later in year 12, but inspired by Jonathan Davis of Korn's 99 album, Issues, I made my own remix of the song Falling Away From Me. And I'd like to play you as an outro that remix now. So here it is. I just tend to call it the Luke Bannon dub whatever remix. Name's negotiable. Enjoy. I'm Luke Banton.
Have you seen Fernando?
Huh?
Have you seen Fernando?
No. Earlier today up there we had a drink. Who's this?
Hello.
Anyway, this is Deterioration, episode 3. People have always appreciated a free flowing of ideas and information as science advances, and so I think a lot of to some extent the fallback onto philosophy. That's it, in a way. It's fueled by this pause on the front of what's being done with the advanced works of Niels Bohr, Victor Stenger, these people that know and have written a great deal about quantum mechanics and the technicalities of life and matter energy, subatomic, beyond the subatomic level, and so it's not very difficult to I mean, we take this silence on that frontier about the ways in which knowledge gained through the study of the study of quantum mechanics, and we know certain things like the Doppler radars exist, and what do they do? They wouldn't be called Doppler radars unless they had something to do with the Doppler effect. And we are told when we look up what the Doppler effect is, by definition, it says that It applies to the physics of all kinds of waves. There's a Doppler effect to light waves. There's a Doppler effect to sound waves. And now, people, if they wonder and ask themselves, well, what about brain waves? Do they obey these principles of the Doppler effect? And that's the question that I think is very much like it's represented metaphorically, I think, in the Matrix trilogy, when there's that bewilderment about the machines taking over, sort of thing. I think it's a valid concern, not machines taking over, but why, given what this technology, that technology is, a Doppler radars, and given what the Doppler effect is, and given, scientists aren't coming forward and speaking about what they can do with the Doppler effect of human brainwaves. Instead, we're distracted by the next episode of A Current Affair, where the two fat bogan women are discovered to have one's tried to kill the other one with a pair of tongs, and they saved the story for A Current Affair. I mean, I think people in this country deserve better quality of information. People are excited actually about this series of about people getting married. They're essentially being match made and married, and every conflict and difference is filmed along the way, and all the anxiety before the day of the wedding. And you think you actually want these events in your life to be, the stuff of a B grade fucking cheap series. Your average Australian citizen doesn't. There's not a strong need to inspire people to want to get married, and I don't know that they are by shoving these people on TV. I don't watch a lot of commercial TV, and I am very proud of when John Safran got into that beef with Ray Martin, and he went through Ray Martin's rubbish. That was a good moment in Australian history. And John Safran also in Music Jamboree, in John Safran vs. God, he illustrates at least the issue of the stereotypical secrecy of the Freemasons. But I do intend to build significantly on his limited discovery, and it isn't because I've wanted to, it's because of how I've been treated by two Freemasons that I have known, and as far as I could tell, if the ethics that they sort of it wouldn't be hard for me to imagine them being a disgrace to their own church, that they're a disgrace to their own industry within healthcare it's not needed to be debated. This t-shirt is very lucky find. the 1999 album Issues by Korn, their third album. Fourth album. Sorry. Self-titled Peachy Leader Issues. And yeah, a lot of my quite a few of my all-time favorite Korn songs are featured on that album. The album was very moving to me from as soon as I found it. They ran a CD cover contest where various fans could submit art for potentially for the cover of the album, and in the end I don't think they could settle on one winner. They chose 4 different covers. So if you buy the CD Issues by Korn, you'll there are 4 different front covers to the album. Songs like Hey Daddy and No Way and Counting, and of course Falling Away From Me, which I've remixed in college. Anyway. Concerning reaching the 21st episode of Deterioration, the entire production crew has unanimously agreed to jerk off at a bonus hidden interval of the episode. It's actually probably won't be included in the episode. But the whole production crew, we didn't think we would get to enough material for 21 episodes, so we're jerking off about that. Action.
Children as their that's the movie. They say down below.
Was the movie based on what church was it?
I don't. Could be any church, children and adults who are warped, who had sex or something.
That's quite a disturbing story.
Yes, well the children back in the end. One of them back.
They did?
They shot him, yeah. When they were adults.
That sounds like a pretty bad church.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for sharing. That's a disturbing story. Be good to know what denomination they were. Who knows what denomination?
Why?
More church stuff. Now, so in retrospect and reflection on my time as an employee for pharmacy services, there was like I certainly noticed as if years of animosity and resent and attrition had to some extent I'd been freed from it when I began to work as a tech for the Canberra Hospital's pharmacy department. It wasn't a very long contract in terms of the duration for which I worked for them, but when I left there, I did leave thinking, gosh, I've really got to sort out, focus on each and every individual point of contention that obviously facilitated the, being that jarred for that amount of time. And I think looking back, I can recall I won't go as strong as to use words like promises, but things that you're told by your employer about, what good things are in store for you and your prospects in the future if you, and I'm not going to bring, drugs into the debate at this point because this is like a monologue. I'm not having a debate. So, and it's a kindness on my behalf at this point not to be naming the names of just who it was that told me, this, that, and the other drugs. Everyone uses them and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I'm only just thinking about what constituted all the negativity that I was subjected to. And I think if you're put in a bind of sorts by things that are they things that have been said to you as part of your education for the business? Is it the boss telling you how he personally thinks things work? But obviously what's been said to you puts you in a definite bind. Like there's only one. I should say binds. So yeah, certainly after leaving, I get to this hospital pharmacy department, and I still had a colleague, a pharmacist who was, I would have been more inclined to have wished that he was a boss on a more regular basis in the stores in the Capital Group, but he also would work for the hospital pharmacy department too. So working for him in both environments, it was nice to have a familiar face both places. But I've categorized the nature of most of the issues. Then, in addition to that, are the direct statements that would be directed at me, and then the statements that you get later from pharmacists who are subordinate to this pharmacist, who's one of the he's got the whole emperor type you don't want to get on his wrong side, and he built the business out of nothing with his bare hands, and he's ruthless, and he knows it's survival of the fittest out there, and that's just the way the world works. And he had to clonk his wife to the back of the cerebrum with a club and drag her by her hair into his cave to prove what a man he is. So you don't want to mess with this guy, and it's that sort of type of talk that you go, well, if the things he is saying to me on numerous occasions are absolutely, either you change certain acts at federal level, or you start to explain what powers of mind this owner of this franchise has, that sufficient that he is of superior intellect on his own, because he built Capital Chemist. He therefore knows more than building the federal government would have been a waste of his time, because because his mind is just that brilliant. That sort of thing. So therefore what he says to you is inerrant and not to be questioned. And if it's illegal, and it's funny because I know, like, I definitely was able to predict certain things about what he would try and do and say, because it's very much if you have an issue with the company, then they would prefer to represent that, in fact, instead of there being issues that you have with the franchise and the company, the way you've been treated, that are to be comprehended, although I'm sure that they're it's easier for them to comprehend the things they've said to me than it is for me to comprehend the rightness in it. So so then they'll move to say, well, his childhood must have been all sorts of fucked up, and essentially that just comes back to a moment where there was you were given an ultimatum to really debase yourself as a gesture of showing your level of dedication to this retail award wage chain of, we're holding people's lives and death that's in our hands. So, counselling is so much more vital. This is not stupid fucking Coles or Woolworths. It's just the retail award wage that's equivalent to Coles and Woolworths. But as moral agents, we're that much more superior to those other retail types. Of course we have to be. This is the sort of bogus pep talks that you will get at staff conferences, where they talk about salary sacrifice, and I tuned out of half of that speech because it's like, Is that about how you've already sacrificed half of what we probably deserve to be paid for the amount of ethical pressure you will arguably try to foist on any one of us award wages? Are you trying to come forward and say that the company's been sacrificing our wages anyway? Oh no, it's some scheme where we some scheme about how we spend the money that we've earned. Well, okay, yeah, very clever too. You know. Freemasons probably love to use the word sacrifice in as many short paragraphs as possible. So I'll be back. Yeah, so to try and take my mind off some of the technical difficulties I've been having getting my humble little webisode and channel out in all its fullness as I see it to all of you. You know, I think of Angelina Jolie's Tattoo and Rage Against the Machine songs about enemies and the nature of the enemy, and Sun Tzu. I don't have to go as far as to say stupid things like, you know, do I think everyone is against me, or that I'm against everyone, or that I have a special place in the universe? That was one question from a purported psychologist. Well, you know, like, yeah, I think that was the most intelligent thing that she had said out of everything she'd said to me. Yeah, it was some years ago now, a while ago now, and I was like, no, I don't think I have any sort of special place in the universe. I don't really think this building is a special place. I couldn't say much before the psychiatrist started going about her religious intuitions. It seems to be that they have this culture where they I don't know if it's supposed to make them feel more dignified in their professional lives, but instead of dwarfing it all together, they keep hold of religion in some way, and they try to sex it up and make it fashionable for the metro professional of today, which isn't hard to do. You know, you can see them going, well, look, if I was going to start a church based on my spiritual supernatural beliefs, no one would touch kids. That's all they have to say to elevate their religion. But, you know, the thing is, it's still a theistic religion. It's still fucking stupid. It's still distracting their attention from the ramifications of the Rights Charter, the ramifications of basic frameworks of systems of logic and logical thought that were spelt out by Greeks 2 millennia ago. Yeah, I've had a few dreams where I've wondered what Epicurus and Epictetus would have thought about right-wing psychiatric conversations in the modern day, about, you'll stay at facilities where the fire alarms are embossed with the logo of pharmaceutical company brands of antipsychotic drugs. Surely there's no handshake or you know, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of sensibility between, you know, whoever built the facility, and couldn't they at least try and save face and make smoke detectors that said counseling matters, something like that. um, so yeah, bit of a giveaway. Yeah, direct pharmaceutical drug names carved into the psych ward smoke detectors. It reminds me of when I was working in pharmacy and certain prescription generic drug brand companies were offering new computers to general practitioners because on those new green prescription pads, not pads, prescription forms. This is after they were those tear-off pads with the carbon copy. There's a box to be ticked that says brand substitution not permitted. And that would mean in situations where like a GP might be speaking to a foreign or an ethnic customer who is confused by the English language but has an intense medicine regime, then they might find it confusing to constantly go to every chemist they go to. They're being asked if they want to try a different brand of their medicines, and since they don't know English very well, they have a hard enough time remembering what each of their medicines are even for, because just the English brand names are enough of a burden for them to bear in that regard. So it only gets worse when every single pharmacy they go to has a different brand and a different generic brand of the same medication. And that's one situation where a GP might mark or tick a box that says no, the brand substitution is just not allowed. So that's to tell the pharmacy that no, you can't give them a cheaper brand. But then there was an issue some years ago when I was working in pharmacy where these companies making cheaper generic brands were going to GPs saying, would you like a new computer from us, from our company, and we'll put all the software on it for you, and we'll configure it for you. And so all these GPs were going, oh wow, great, thanks, and we'll give you we'll pay for your trip to wherever. And so the GPs were going, great, thank you, and they'd get their new computers set up in their offices, but they'd rigged the drug selection software so that the software would default to the generic brand of that drug provided by the company who had provided the computer and was also distributing the generic brands of certain drugs. So this is where they became more daring than giving you free pens and sticky notepads. But then, so what was happening was a whole lot of doctors were trying to give their patients their scripts, and they were printing scripts that were just the doctors weren't knowing how to make sure that the lady from India always got the same brand of her heart medication, because the new computer and the new software was giving them the generic brand of that heart medication, and so it was automatically printing the scripts, making sure that the pharmacy would only know to provide the generic from that company to that patient, and the doctors weren't able to. Many of them weren't knowing how to change the script to say, or to have the same customizational control on how their scripts were being printed, and I think it led to a legal dispute, and that many of the computers were taken back even by some of these drug companies. So the Freemasons seem to be the secretive religion that's more bent on martyring than, they go, well, who's got a cause, let's martyr them. to their cause. And the unfortunate thing is that they're so over enthusiastic about this process that they will not even adequately establish that a person has a certain cause prior to making their martyring efforts. And one possible philosophical account for why they're making these retarded errors in judgment could be their religious view that Jesus of Nazareth constituted a martyr. Once again, I'm no Christian, but with 200 years of scholarship pointing out that the accounts of St. Matthew, Luke, and John were written 15 to 25 years after the Gospel of Mark, there's no real non-hearsay, hearsay, Chinese whispers, hearsay, reducing argument that can bring the contents of those three Gospels forward as prospectively stipulating Jesus of Nazareth's cause. So it would be like them going to the Mormon church now and saying, well, so in your Book of Mormon it says that Joseph Smith saw Jesus in upstate New York in the 1800s. And then the Freemasons would be like, yeah, let's martyr Jesus in the 1800s in upstate New York. So I think they have this premature martyring, pre-martyr ejaculation. Yeah, if you're wanting to martyr someone to their cause, just be at least you could do the fulfill the duty of establishing that such and such a person actually has such and such a cause. Or you'll be embarrassing yourselves, your profession, and the Freemason Church. So the owners of Capital Chemist, the two co-founders, are pretty much cons because the way that you're handled and talked into shape as an employee is essentially a concealed religious conversion attempt by them. So it's more petty than the Christian church because the attempt to convert you to a belief system is freely admitted to by evangelicals. You know, the agenda that you need to accustom yourself to the approvals of a couple of Freemasons' belief systems is, especially when they don't admit that's what it is. They go, no. I do not think that Roger Toll is certainly not in league with scientists I've read about and admired throughout history. Galileo had the brevity to, in his day, say that Earth rotated around the sun in the solar system, and he had the brevity to say that in keeping consistency with scientific method and despite opposition by theologians and the church in his day to recant from his findings or not disclose his findings. And Roger sort of reminds me of the opposite, or the arch enemy to that sort of mentality, where he's sort of going, I'll try and make science into a church. And it's just very, it explains instantly why, an aspect of why this Freemason gibberish is so secretive. I strongly suspect now that if what they were about was brought and disclosed to the public view, they would be sorely criticized. Yeah, no Galileo. Definitely not a Galileo. Yeah, so that was sort of my summary of what I've observed about Freemasons so far. I used to wonder whether the religious temper and, the way it tends to flare up irrationally and in ways that are hard to predict, if that is because it's linked to inexplicable supernatural beliefs. So that it takes little conversational pressure for a mood outburst. That's just a theory that I've had, because I noticed that in leaving and getting away from theistic religion in my teens, my mood definitely settled as well, as part of that. But yeah, I think that this Freemasonry opinion of Jesus as a martyr is arguably not as stupid as the claim that he violated certain laws of nature and walked on water and floated into outer space after the crucifixion, but because we know at best these were words put in his mouth after death by 15 to 25 years, hearsay to scribes. It's almost just as stupid to advance the case that those Gospels constitute his ideological cause. I think at most they're indicators of how unjust political killings were around the 1st century of Palestine, how they were concealed and embellished after the fact. And that's when they flock in, heaping supernatural idea after supernatural idea, so that because it would take attention and focus away from the conclusion that monarchies are irrational and unjust.
Luke Banton's deterioration ruined my life.
Ruined your life?
Can't watch it ever again.
Well, what's wrong with it?
I don't know.
Beyond all recognition. Fucked up.
It's fucked up beyond all recognition. It's just really bad.
My webisode series is FUBAR. That's what it means. That's the initialism. FUBAR.
Oh wow, that's pretty trippy.
Alright, the show's not doing very well. What will we do? I think it's fair enough for me to say, at least, that, as character references go, and exposure to characteristics of, particular person and their mentality, and being their subordinate for so many years. I can even imagine him thinking right now, Now he thinks he's bigger than me or better than me. No. Just observant. But I think I can say that yeah, if in Canberra there were a woman who felt alone and had a few friends, was distanced from her family, and was so pressured at work so intensely that she became suicidal. In a proud a feat of unilateral academic prowess, and she was found suicidal, kicking and screaming on the floor. In a feat of his academic prowess, I think that Roger Toll would be the one in the group who walked up to the scene and to her and said, "Oh, yeah, she definitely wants to be the center of attention." That was actually a faked laugh. I hardly find any of that funny at all. But yeah, that's one little inside inside scoop on the enigmatic mind of a gene genius. That is all.
Like her.
Not a kid, don't. Fuck off, please. Don't.
Why?
Don't. Don't beat
Why?
someone. It's verbal
Who you
abuse.
gonna send to?
It's verbal abuse, Liz. You can get charged for
For my
what's
show.
wrong with you?
She won't get in,
You
you
look
can't get in
bad,
trouble.
Liz. You look bad.
Free speech.
Abuse anyone, Liz. Don't. What are you doing? Is something wrong with you?
She left him.
So I won't leave it. It's his problem. What are you doing, Liz? You look like a bad person, Liz.
I can't do that because I'm afraid with
Yeah,
them.
Liz.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright then.
Oh, Liz, what are you doing?
I do it. I don't like her. She says they were.
You
They
look bad,
were.
they look bad. You look bad when you go there next time.
I just say what I say. Up to me.
Up to you, yeah.
Hi, come to meet. Are you a bad fan? Leave Luke alone. He want to be alone. That girl leave Luke alone. It's over now.
Thank you. Obviously now the only scarcely remotely relevant thing that Roger Toll and Gary can say to me concerning our little beef is congratulations, you passed our tests, and we don't think you're dangerous anymore. Fuck off. Save it for the judge. Learning that one of them was Freemason, I obviously needed to know to myself that striving for their approval I guess to some extent the terms in which we each think are make us aliens to one another, and I don't quite care at all now to bridge the potential for differences, or bridge the shit fight that started at the start of this decade. Being Luciferian, they're making all kinds of fucking dumb judgments. The people they'll think are dangerous, they're not even dangerous at all. And then meanwhile they're getting shafted in the psych wards and injected with tranquilizers and sedatives, Is this about me completing Zelda, or remembering some of the moves, special moves in Mortal Kombat 3? Because aside from things like that, I have no fucking idea why I'm here. And it's weird, like this clockwork business of theirs. They think there's some sort of halfway house between between the criminal world and the courts. And to get away with the scams that they do indeed try and strive very much so to get away with. People won't even know. People will be getting put into these psych wards without even knowing what the case made against them is, why it's not been addressed in the magistrate's court, why they're being medicated without adequate comprehension of the profile that's been pinned on them, not being able to examine the profile that's been pinned on them, being injected with sedatives, so that and sedatives that can disturb severely the cardiovascular system and the central nervous system, and they're not even getting told or coached about or counseled about the potential side effects of drugs that they don't even have a choice to reject. It's worse drug pushing than like anything that I've ever seen or fathomed from any street drug dealer of any kind at any point in time in my life, ever. I do not, now more than ever, like the concept of a drug pusher, a person who's pushing drugs onto people. They are not street dealers. They are pharmaceutical industry. It's this kind of nonsense that what they're doing is some glorious civil duty, when really they're just a private sector, barbaric parody of due process. And it's very sad that innocent lives can be endangered because these stupid fuckwits think that they team justice. Judge Judy would fuck them up. The Federal Magistrates Court would fuck them up. And by the time I'm done with this series and my business trip, I will fuck them up. Those that are working for government agencies, I find them to be more humane and humanistic, and you can tell when you converse with them that they aren't so close-minded as to be ashamed of the rights charter, which that I've said I would argue could be improved in certain ways. It's at least got basics, It's a funny interview by Bill Maher in the documentary Religulous, where he's talking to a politician, and then he asks the politician, he's a Christian politician, and Bill Maher asks him, do you think that the human race needed Moses to come down from Mount Sinai with his 10 commandments? Do you honestly think people needed to hear those 10 commandments so that they could, in order to know not to kill? Or do you think that that's just more or less an intuitive ethic that a person will pick up on, and could even be a trait selected and favored by natural selection? And this politician goes, "Oh, I'm not quite so sure that they would unless they were told in the Bible." And you see Bill Maher's jaw almost hit the floor. But the funny thing about that story where Moses teaches the Ten Commandments, at the end he sees some people worshipping a golden bull, a golden calf, and he was like, "Fuck you! I just read you these commandments, and you're already off worshipping a golden bull calf." So he smashes the tablets of the Ten Commandments, and he tells all of them that in order to purify themselves, they should go and kill themselves. Now, is that a wholesome or healthy story? You know, that's as far as behavioral guides go, that's an element of biblical text that most of the Christians probably would even police against. So, how can they, on the one hand, rightfully rebuke that passage of text that pretty much immediately follows the proclamation of the Ten Commandments, and yet then insist that we would be moralless swine if it weren't for these Ten Commandments? They don't have an excuse. But I do have a pizza on the way, so I'm gonna get it. Come back to the webisodes. Fernando, who am I?
No more fucking cheesy. Look crazy. Fuck off. You fucking naughty cunt. You funny man, man.
This is episode 3 of the webisodes of Tatiri Nation. Thank you for watching.